On the first photograph, I'm here at the very extreme end. Frank is the captain wearing red with the trophy in front of him. That's Clann Eireann's first juvenile trophy that the club ever won. The following year, I'm here, second from the end in the back row. Frank again, centre, holding the ball and the trophy, which was the minor team that we played together in our own, sorry.
Was Frank the captain of that team?
Frank was captain of both teams, 68 and 69. He was an inspirational captain, by the way, and I'm sure that goes without saying that anyone you've ever spoken to would tell you that. Frank was a very unassuming guy, not the typical captain that would come and bawl you out or come and destroy you for having a bad game. Frank would encourage you. He would actually come after games, have a word with you, telling you how to improve your game or how to improve your play. Frank was that type of a captain, someone that we all looked up to. We all felt very comfortable when we seen Frank was coming down the steps to play for us on an evening. We knew that we had a very good chance of winning that game.
Well, it was the late 70s, early 80s, and I was either coach or captain. I can't remember, it's that long ago. I'd have to look up the record book. But this lad appeared, and we knew that he was a Gaelic footballer and a very good Gaelic footballer. He had plenty of skill. And not only that, he looked like a rugby player. He was well put together, he had good hands, good feet. So he had never played rugby in his life, as far as I knew at the time. But a few nights training out there and what have you, and you could see he was just a natural.
He also had played for Armagh minors from he was 14, which meant that he was a superstar in our eyes in those days.
And that was just to start off with. As you say, won the Hogan medal with a couple of other players in there. I think Kevin Alone's in the picture too.
Kevin's there. Kevin is on the minor team on the second row, extreme right hand side there. Kevin had went to Valatil with Frank, and his brother John was on the same team. God rest him. And we're really, really inspirational players to have on any team, but very, very helpful to have them on our team at that time.
You mentioned about the stature within the concept of the managing of the team and bringing everybody else along. That whole idea came through with him. He didn't just disappear after minor. He very much stuck around with Clann Eireann.
Oh, Frank stuck around with Clann Eireann at senior level, even though Clann Eireann wouldn't have been the force that they are now. Absolutely, the dominant team in Armagh then was Clann Eireann, and if Frank would have been born at the other side of the town, I'm pretty sure that he would have been a star for Clann Eireann. He would have won lots and lots more than he ever won with Clann Eireann at senior level. But Frank being Frank, he took his football with Clann Eireann very seriously. As I say, he was a non-assuming guy. He never paraded his medals in front of anyone. He was one of those guys that you just loved to play with. He had a way with him on the team. He was poetry in motion.
We played fullback with me a couple of times, mainly out half, but also at fullback. And it was just one of these. I mean, you were talking about when he arrived up. I mean, I'd be in training, and he's frankly wasn't the talk, but when he stripped out, he was
chunky.
He was in some shape. So
not fat or anything. He was muscular.
Of course, he was playing not alone Gaelic. He'd been playing soccer too. I mean, he was multi-disciplined, wasn't he?
He was a sportsman. He was a sportsman through and through.
I've always frankly, it didn't matter what sport, if there was a ball involved, he would have been good at it. There's no surprise then. I actually wasn't surprised then. Married with Janice, she was a good hockey player. That the daughter is such
An international hockey player now,
international
yeah,
player.
yeah.
Wasn't surprised in the slightest. You were just that he was a natural.
When Frank Toman struck a ball off the ground, it was like watching. It was like watching something. It was like watching a painting being constructed. The ball just seemed to go in slow motion, and no matter where he took that dead ball kick from on the pitch, 50 yards out, 60 yards out, invariably it always seemed to go over the bar.
He seemed to have had this ability not just in one realm in Gaelic. He certainly had it by account from all the folks in Lurgan Rugby Club. He had that same proven ability, and probably in the soccer field too. He was all over sport, wasn't he?
He was all over sport, but then again, some people are just lucky enough to be born that their genes allow them to be able to be competitive and possibly brilliant at any game, at any sport that has a ball in it. Frank could strike a rugby ball and probably had never seen a rugby ball before he went to Lurgan Rugby.
As I say, I played with Frankie. He was out half, and played with him a few times at fullback as well. And as a forward, you never trusted the backs. You worked hard to get the ball, and you give it back to them, and then you turn around and they've dropped it. The one thing you never knew about Frankie, he never dropped the ball. Frankie was always looking to make things happen. You know, but that Paul was talking about is about. I mean, he had a fantastic both off the deck and out of hand. He could hit a ball. And I mind down in the park, and I was just thinking about that. You know, when you heard about Frankie going, they used to play matches down in the park pitch, and it was really, really foggy. And it started off, you could just see one set of posts to the other. The second half, from halfway, you could see the other set of posts, and Frankie sent this bomb up. And I just sort of looked, you know, from a penalty, and I just going, you can go and find that, Toman. It just disappeared, you know. But but the one I remember, and I don't know if you were down there, at North. You mean North first? We were playing. I think it was their seconds, and we got this penalty, and it was inside our half, in and around about our 10-metre line, and we're wondering what to do. And Frankie says, "I fancy a go at that." North first, they were senior league at the time. This is the old North ground, which is down off the Armagh Road. And we were in the second pitch, and there's this big crowd down. And he sets it up, and the North boy says, "What's he think he's going on?" And they're all very posh accent. And I goes, "Just watch." And he stuck it over the back wall into the estate. And it was still going up as it went over the wall.
I don't think the ball was ever retrieved.
Probably landed in the leg. But that's
It was heading for the lag in the last the ball was seen, it was heading for the lag. And
Armagh got a 50, and it still sticks out in my head to this day. We were standing, me and my friends, very young at the time, in among a group of Derry supporters who were loud and being very vocal. They seen this little tiny fella coming up to take this 50 encasement, and he got a bit of abuse for the size that he was, and would he be able to kick the ball, never mind launch it, as Frank would do. Frank put that ball, I would swear to this day, from 50 yards out, I would swear to this day that ball landed in the Andersonstown Road.
How will Frank be remembered, not just by yourselves, but by the club in general?
just a good guy.
Just a good guy. You see, the thing is, you've been in the committee room there, and there are loads of photographs, but they're all photographs of teams that have won something. Unfortunately for me and for Frankie and one or two others, we were the nearly men. We nearly won something, you know. And you don't get a picture in the committee room if you're a nearly man, you know. But I just remember Frankie as one good all-round fella, you know.
The last time I had seen Frank, funny enough, and we had a good chat, was in 2009 at the presentation night for the underage teams that were there that night. And Frank was in good spirits that evening, and it's just unbelievable. It's hard to take in that he has passed away, as I say, because he loomed very, very large in our lives when we were young. He loomed very large, both in football terms and in stature, because we all looked up to Frank. We all looked up to Frank.